Hey guys, movie recap here. Today, I will be recapping a movie titled, I Want Candy, from 2007. We start with a couple of guys filming a family's funeral. They say they were paid to make a film about the funeral but were disrespectful to the grieving people. One of the guys, Baggy, got punched for trying to film too close to the family. We learn that they were trying to film a movie for the end-of-year film school project. They were both enthusiastic filmmakers that wanted to get to Hollywood one day. They attended a film school in England. We went with them to a class, where the teacher discusses the class projects with his students. The other guy from the funeral, whose name was Joe, was interested in making a long movie. The teacher, though, said their project couldn't be a movie, that it had to be just a 2-minute short film. We then go to Joe's place. We see he lives a simple life with his parents, who support him but think his aspirations might be out of his reach. During dinner, Joe's father says that the movie business is bad and that he should go to work with him. He works with cars and offers Joe a job, but that's not what he really wants. The next day Joe meets with his friend Baggy in a bar, and they complain about not having the possibility of getting to Hollywood. A waitress that's a friend of theirs, Lila, challenges them to follow through. She told them they wouldn't have to let a teacher determine if they were making a movie. Tarantino didn't ask for permission for doing Reservoir Dogs, she said. Inspired by her words, Joe and Baggy went to London to a couple of movie studios. Their goal was to show their script but got rejected in the first place they went because they didn't have an appointment. Later they did get an appointment with a guy and pitched the movie to him, but the guy didn't even work in the movie industry. Their next visit was to a studio called Head. The boss of that place gave them 2 minutes to pitch their script. While Baggy did it, Joe realized they were on an adult film company. Doug, the boss, wasn't interested at all in their movie. He said he had worked with a woman called Candy, the best in the business. Also that he wouldn't work with the guys if the movie didn't have shagging in it. Joe and Baggy decided to study some adult films and try to make one. Joe's father caught them watching, but they said that it was part of their school project. After that, Joe goes searching for the actress. He gets a number of a place called 5 Ways International and books Candy. He asks for her prices and asked if she was a loving person. The guy on the telephone replied that Candy was a doll. We find out that Baggy and Joe pretend to make a film that everyone would watch until the end. Joe then returns to Doug's office and says he has everything to start working on the movie. Baggy works on the script and Joe signs a contract. Joe and Baggy went to their school and visit some guys to convince them to be their cameramen. These guys refuse, but Joe convinced them by saying that some girls were going to be in the movie. Then they put up some signs with the help of their waitress friend. They were preparing for a casting. Some people went to the casting and Joe, Baggy, and Lila, the waitress, were the judges. She helped them pick the guys. Joe was astonished by the girls. The teacher found out about the casting. Joe and Baggy had to hide a girl that they were interviewing. The teacher liked Lila, so let them be at the end. They were selecting the actors and actresses when a package arrived. What Joe had negotiated was a doll. Meanwhile, Doug went to his boss, who asked for the movie. Doug found out that Candy wasn't even booked, and went to the school to ask for Joe, saying he was his dad. Then he went to his place saying he was his teacher. He stayed with his parents until he arrived. Joe lied again, but Doug said he knew that Candy wasn't on board with the film. Doug threatened him. Joe and Baggy then went to London, where Candy was signing some of her books. Baggy was nice to her and gave her the script, asking her to read it. Meanwhile, Lila hit Joe for having lied to them. Joe had spent the money he had already. After a while, and after losing hope, Candy called Baggy and told him he agreed to meet with them the next day. Lila said she had found a new location. The location was Joe's place, and all the actors, actresses, and cameramen got there. Joe had to accept that. Candy showed up a bit later with the script in her hands. She entered the house and Joe introduced her to the people. However, she knew something was odd. One of the cameramen broke one of the lights. The truth is that Candy's only interest in being there was Baggy's script. He had managed to convince Candy to read the whole story and she agreed to work with them without really knowing who they were. Baggy was nervous on the second floor, and Candy went to speak with him. She doubted the location and knew they weren't professionals, but recognized Baggy's script was good. She told him that a movie deserved to be made out of it. She also said she had a lot to teach Baggy. They started shooting the movie in the garden. Candy was handcuffed. An old man interrupted them a couple of times, but the shooting was now underway. Candy was the person with experience, the others were clueless. One of the guys caused a short circuit and it almost left the house without electricity. Later, at dinner, Joe blamed something else and lit some candles. The parents didn't suspect a thing. We know by now that Joe likes to get his mouth full of words, and tells everyone what he thinks they want to hear. Joe thanked Candy for helping her and tried to seduce her a little. She told him something in his ear, and Joe got excited about it. He went to his room and put peanut butter on his body, waiting for Candy, but Candy was just messing up with him. Lila did the same. The next day, Joe's parents told him that they wanted to watch his masterpiece film. His father was having a piece of bread with peanut butter on it. Joe now had to film the 2-minute project with Candy and some tomatoes. With that done, the crew kept filming every day at the house right when Joe's parents went off to work. They were always surprised by everything Candy did. One day, Joe's father had some cancellations on his job and was returning early. Candy was recording another one of the scenes with another actress, and we find out that she was starting to like Baggy. Joe's parents arrived, and the crew had to finish shooting fast and exit through the back door. Joe hid everything as best as he could and got into his parents' bathroom trying not to get caught. Another member of the crew was in the bathroom, and it got awkward when Joe's parents started having an amorous congress. The guys took off their clothes and tried to make a rope with them, but Joe was clumsy. They stayed inside the bathroom trying to make no sounds but were caught at the end. Joe said his friend was a plumber, and that they were fixing the bathroom. The Love Storm, the movie, was ready. The crew went to a bar to celebrate. Candy kissed Biggie, and Doug showed up. Neither Joe nor Candy knew they were making a movie for Doug, and Candy said she had been betrayed and left. Baggy gave Doug his film and also left. Later, at school, Joe was with his parents about to watch the film project. Baggy arrived at the last minute and told Joe that he had accidentally switched the films and that he had given Doug the 2-minute film. Everyone at the auditory was watching it on a big screen. Joe's parents found out the filming had been at their place. Meanwhile, Doug arrived at his boss's place and played the short film, which consisted of Candy smashing some tomatoes. Doug then went to the school and saw the movie on the big screen. The film ended and Joe escaped but was trapped between his father, his teacher, and Doug. The teacher said Joe and Baggy could forget about their diploma. Doug's boss approved the movie and said they would win a prize for it. The movie won a golden prize for the best movie category, and the cameraman went to tell Joe about it. He was working with his father at the car shop. The father saw it was an important prize and lent his car to Joe so he could collect the prize and recover the movie. Joe went to London and met Lila at the gala. Joe went to ask for Candy's forgiveness and told her that Baggy didn't know anything about Doug. Baggy was sad and thought he had no talent, but everyone kept saying that his movie was a masterpiece. He went to the gala. Candy was the one who was given the prize for the best film. The Love Storm won, and Candy said out loud that the movie had been produced and directed by Joe, Baggy, and Lila. Doug and his boss had to stop as they were no longer winners. Joe and Baggy accepted the prize while everyone there applauded them. Candy kissed Baggy and Lila kissed Joe. Baggy was later able to do another movie, a different one. And this is how the movie ended. Please don't forget to drop a like and subscribe. Thanks, see you for the next one.